studies, Year 12 studies at Colby Catholic College, and he was learning English at that time, and he always fascinated other students by telling his story to the different school year groups. Now he's employed at the school as the Information Communications and Technology Systems Officer, who's saying the IT guy for short. And he is a human rights activist who writes about the plight of his community, the Ahwazi Arabs, and explains how important freedom and democracy are. So I'd like to hand over to Hussein now.
Thank you guys. Thank you for giving me this opportunity to talk to you guys about my people, the Ahwazi Arab. Well, it did start in 1925, where Iranian government take over my city. It's historically known as Arabistan. They overthrow Sheikh Faisal, the leader of Ahwaz, where they overthrow him and they murder him. So Ahwaz, before Ahwaz, it was an independent region, and it has more than 10 million people living there. It was annexed and occupied by Reza Shah in 1925, as I mentioned, and they initiated programs and policies to Persianization basically they enforced Persian or Farsi to become the official language in Ahwaz, which is our language is Arabic. It was Arabistan, land of Arab people. So they banned teaching Arabic in the schools after they overtake Arabistan. They changed region's name from Arabistan to Khuzestan. The current name is Khuzestan. If you Google that, you'll find that out. And to make Ahwazians feel isolated. So a lot of people think Iran is a one nation, but it is not. Iran is a multi-nations country. One, Ahwazi Arabs in this region. The second, Kurds in this region. Third, Turks in here, as east of Azerbaijan, and the Baluchis there. So all of them. I know. I'm a Baluchi supporter. As I have mentioned, all of these people are trying for their freedom, and they are trying. They don't have their basic rights, such as freedom of speech, such as equal opportunity for finding for employment. So Ahwazians protest for several reasons. For not allow the Iranian government is not. They don't allow Arab people to wear their traditional clothing in their homeland. Can you believe that? It's unbelievable. They protest for unemployment, land confiscation by the Iranian authorities from 1925 until now. They are doing it these days. So they don't have the right to be educated in their own native language, which is Arabic. So as a result, they have been protesting each year on the 20th of April, as I said, each year. So Al-Ahwazi history. So there was a leaked document. There was a leaked document outlined the Iranian plan in 2005. So that document got leaked to the public and outlined how they are trying to change Ahwazians' population by ethnic cleansing and forcing migration of Arab Ahwazians to different parts of Iran. And they were doing this basically to, they are scared of Arab people being in one part of Iran, or Arabistan basically. So they did that to spread Arabs around, to not have them in one place. So in 2005 protests, there were thousands of people were captured by Iranian government, and they were persecuted. The ones that they went out to protest, they were human rights activists or political activists. But the Iranian government doesn't care. They randomly go to places in Ahwaz and they capture people and persecute them and execute them. So since the Ahwazi Arabs shows resistance and by protesting, which occurs every year on the 15th of April and 20th of April. So the protest, this protest firstly to commemorate the anniversary of 1925 occupation and the 2015 Intifada, which means uprising. So despite the natural resources of Ahwaz, over 90% of oil, gas and wealth in Ahwaz, they have been taken by Iranian government. But the poverty among Ahwazians, it's spread among Ahwazians. Ahwazians are victims of institutionalized, wider destitution and privation, such as, for example, lack of equal opportunity for employment, or decent education, or healthcare, or access to social and political environment. So this simply because Iranian discriminatory policy directed against the Ahwazians, Ahwazi Arabs. So basically, from Iranian regime's point of view, they are scared of losing Ahwaz because of us, because of Arab people. So, and they know they cannot survive without Ahwaz because of so much natural resources that has. Like we have a saying in Ahwaz that if you dig the ground, you see oil and gas. Like it's a saying in my language. So yeah, it's unbelievable what they are doing right now. So as you see, this is picture taken recently in Ahwaz. This is the water we get. We have all this. We have water. So recently we had another document was leaked to the public, and it was to move the Karun River to Isfahan and Tehran, and that's what left for us. So the systematic discrimination policy that's affected against Ahwazian people states racist ideology of Iranian government to establish an absolute mono-ethnic in the country. So what they are trying to do is to make us Persian, like to have one ethnic in Iran. And I can prove that by why are they banning Arabic in the schools? Why don't we have an Arabic schools in Ahwaz? It is an Arabic state, Arabic region. Why are we not having this? Why are they not allowing us to wear our traditional clothing? Why?
Well, we have.
We do have dish dasher.
Yeah, we studied Arabic for 7 years in school.
Yeah. No, it's not true. So
it's not true?
So we will have the Q&A later on, and I can respond to that, to your question. So as you see, when we don't get the opportunity to get jobs and work, our people become homeless, and then after that we see what is happening in Ahwazi to Arab people. So Arab people in Ahwaz, during all these years, since 1925 until now, they experience nothing but depression and homelessness. The systematic crackdown in Ahwazi people, they are facing imprisonment for their human rights activities and environmental activities. Someone just a few minutes ago told me that I'd like to be an environmental lawyer. I was like, someone in Ahwaz was wishing to be that person, but he cannot because of Iranian policy and discrimination against my people, Ahwazians. So the Ahwazians get imprisoned on a daily basis, and the Iranian government execute them. They take them to an unknown location, and since 1979, where the Mullah Ahundian government came to power, it got worse. So since then, they execute Arab people who wears the traditional clothing. They imprison them, they torture them, and they call them, they charge them with enemy with God. But in their eyes, the God is the leader of Iran, the supreme leader of Iran, Ali Khamenei. So that's crazy for like being an environmental activist or human rights activist. They label that person with enemy with God charge, and then they execute that person. So we do have this picture. This is not long ago in Ahwaz. People even don't have the right of clean air. Like the pollution in Iran, in Ahwaz is mental. Like you cannot believe it. You cannot live there. And they confiscated a land of an Arab person. They are basically destroying their lands for different reasons, and like to give away to Sipahians or basically other organizations within the government. I think that's self-explanatory. So this is an Arab woman who is trying to earn some money by selling fish on the streets in nowhere. Like, can you believe this? This is happening in my city. And no one is there to be their voice, because the internet is being blocked by the Iranian authority, Iranian government. And they basically, whoever report these kind of things, they can get in prison. They can put them in prison, and it's just madness. Like you see this photo and you go, wow. And we understand how lucky. You should understand how lucky you are where you live. You have the freedom of speech. You have everything you want, and we should keep Australia like this. This is wonderful place for everyone, for us. And we should make Ahwaz like Australia. Like we should have the rights to like for freedom of speech. We should have human rights. Like we don't have basic human rights in Ahwaz. This is another photo of just recent events. This is a man trying to find food in Ahwaz. In the rubbish, like this is rubbish. He's trying to find food. He's starving. They are trying to find work. They are on the street waiting to find some work on a daily basis. They are Arabs. Unfortunately, it's just crazy. I cannot believe it. Like when I came here, I saw how much freedom like we have in here, and I was like, oh my God, do Australians understand how lucky they are that they live in this land with this freedom? Like you can go outside, you can scream, you can shout. Well, don't do that. You may get arrested. So this woman is trying to sell petrol on the road to get some money to live on. So this is again crazy. I cannot explain how I feel really at this moment. This Arab man trying to find food in the bin, as you can see, it's clear. It cannot be clearer than that. I don't know how I can explain these. I really don't know. You can understand how we feel in Ahwaz, in our land, not be able to wear our traditional clothing, no employment, not an equal like opportunity to get a job, racism, everything like this is mental in Ahwaz. So this is an Arab person in here wearing our traditional clothing, if you can see it in here. So they are trying to capture him and imprison him for wearing their traditional clothing. So you can see that's a policeman, this is a policeman, this is a policeman running after an Arab person because of wearing his traditional clothing. So the next two images are graphic. If you wish to turn away for a few seconds, feel free to do that. But I put them there for a reason. This is around 2005, where we had the uprising, the Arab uprising. The next photo is, so this is 15th of 4th of 2005. This is after the uprising, where they captured people, they tortured them, they killed them, they throw them in the Karun River, and then Arab people pull them out of the Karun River like this. The second one is like clear what I make my point. So people, look at this. This is in Karun River. People are pulling those men. They are being tortured and killed by the Iranian authority. Like, can you believe this image? Can you make sense of why they are doing this? So back to people are trying to raise their voice after the Iranian government took their homeland, took their agricultural land, took their oil, took their natural resources in Ahwaz. They are trying to raise their voice legally. Anyone hears us? They don't care. The Iranian government don't care about these things. So this is another civil protest in front of the agricultural organization. This was a river. Sorry, I should say this is the small river. So I need to pass you on. I have a special guest with me, who is from UK. So I have Faisal AL-Ahwazi, who is human rights activist, and he is an executive director of Ahwazi Centre for Human Rights, based in UK. So I'm just going to put him in the main screen. Hello, Faisal. How are you doing?
Hello, Hussein. Thank you for your invitation, and good evening to all of your audience.
Thank you for joining us. Please feel free to start.
All right. Thank you for the invitation again, and thanks to the Food for Thought team that for their humanitarian mission they are doing to raise the fund and helping the migrant and as well asylum seeker in Australia. Well, regarding the Ahwazi Arab people, first of all, when the word of Iran comes to the picture, everybody thinks that the Iran is the only one nation and the only Persian people are there. But the reality is completely different, where there are 5 to 6 nations that are living in Iran and their mother tongue is not Farsi or Persian. Well, in north west there are Azerbaijani Turk, in west there are Kurd, and southwest there are Ahwazi Arab, in southeast there are Baluchi people, and northeast there are Turkmen who are looking for their self-determination, and they thought they are not Iranian and they are occupied by Iran. Well, speaking about the geographical point of Al-Ahwaz, Ahwaz is in south and southwest with the 400,000 square meter in north of Arabian Gulf, and it's split up over the following Iranian map, such as Khuzestan, Bushehr, Hormuzgan, South Elam, and some of them being attached to the Shiraz provinces. As Hussein says, there are Ahwaz is famous in the world that rich in the underground, which means natural resources, and their people are poor or overground. As you've seen by the photos, they are collecting their food through the garbage places. Well, speaking about the first of all, as we are working with the United Nations, the last United Nations Special Rapporteur has visited Ahwaz. His name was Mr. Milan Kothari in 2005, where at that time in 2005, Ahwaz region was okay, not disastrous, but still, according to the Ahwazi Arab people. But the United Nations Special Rapporteur says that the Ahwaz is living in a disastrous place, and it's need international attention to this place, where Mr. Milan was the last, and nobody else was visiting the Al-Ahwaz up to today, which I'm talking with you right now. Well, Ahwaz water has been diverted to the central Iranian cities such as Isfahan, Qom, and Yazd. And since that diversion that has been taken place, Ahwaz region has become the most polluted region in the world since 2010-11. Most polluted region in the world. Imagine that the visibility angle reduced to 10 meter only. That's much the density of the dust in the air. Imagine that this dust is not clear, and of course it brings all the chemical material with it, and where the Iranian pro-media has explained in newspaper that the cancer tsunami on its way to Al-Ahwaz. The cancer, it's not only skin, lung, all body. There are known and unknown disease in Al-Ahwaz. But unfortunately, as you can see, the Iranian media are present all over the world, but you can't see at least Australian media in Al-Ahwaz, because they know that if any West or Australian or any other media present into the Ahwaz, definitely they will broadcast the disastrous situation in Al-Ahwaz, but they don't allow. Well, this is about the diverting, and now the people of Al-Ahwaz are drinking their water through the mobile water cellar that they could provide their water. This is the thing. So Iran, because of its horrific human rights record, it's the second country after China in terms of execution, and the most execution taken in Al-Ahwaz against Ahwazi Arab people. Why? Because of the natural resources that Al-Ahwaz had, and Iran does not want any Ahwazi Arab youth speak about their legitimate rights. So about the barbaric arrest that took place in Al-Ahwaz. Imagine after the Al-Hilal and Fula. Pardon?
Just continue, Faisal.
Yes, after, according to the report by the United Nations, Mr. Ban Ki-moon, General Secretary, stated that after a football match taking place in Al-Ahwaz, and as Mr. Hussein showed you that how the Iranian police are chasing an Ahwazi Arab man who is wearing traditional dress, more than 1,000 persons has been arrested. Just their accusation was wearing traditional dress. So, practically speaking, about the unemployment, as Al-Ahwaz contains more than 3,000 oil wells, and the most important companies such as the petrochemical, oil, gas, everything, all in Al-Ahwaz, but the unemployment level is at highest level, where this systematic impoverishment against Ahwazi Arab lead them to the to make Al-Ahwaz region is the first in Iran in terms of suicide. Most of our youth, where they are poor and they don't have anything, and especially the suicide happen against the married male when they wives asking for some money which they don't have. Imagine that's much impoverishment there in the Al-Ahwaz, but we are not allowed to speak even or demonstrate about the air pollution that killing more than 10,000 yearly are dying because of the air pollution. This is the secret report that been leaked by the Ahwazi activists inside Al-Ahwaz, but Iran does not allow anybody to speak about it. More than 20 to 30,000 are going to the CCU or ICU, intensive care unit. After each rain in the Ahwaz, we have an acid rain. Imagine that. The Ahwaz has got the sugar cane project, and each time when they want to yield of the crop, they are burning the waste of sugar cane, which made the Al-Ahwaz completely smoky air. And when the rain comes, so we will see the acid rain, which enters more than 30,000 of Ahwazi are entering the CCU and ICU. That's much reason we have. Imagine when we had a meeting in House of Commons in the British Parliament, the British MP.
They're telling me to finish it up. Faisal, thank you so much.
I'm sorry. Yeah, just the last point. Point. As much as we have the air pollution in Al-Ahwaz, the Iranian government, rather than building a hospital, they are building a prison to detain our activists and Ahwazi youth. And we see that in one children hospital, when the acid rain or any polluted rain come to Ahwaz, 3 or 4 children are sleeping on one bed. That's much disastrous in Al-Ahwaz.
Thank you so much, Faisal. So we will have Faisal with us for Q&A if you have any questions. I don't know if do we have time? Cut it. No questions, guys.
I think if anyone has like a burning question, feel free to raise it. Otherwise, obviously, we can talk over dessert more and that kind of thing. Yeah. Is there anything anyone wanted to ask?
What was your story? Like, how did you come to school?
That would be another night. That is long. I really cannot cover that in a minute. I think they are looking at me weirdly at the back. They're like, cut it. So, yeah, that would be another night. Anyone else?
Have you returned since coming to Australia?
I would not dare.
You would probably be cut.
Yes, definitely. Yep. Anyone else, guys? Nope. Thank you. Thank you, Faisal, and have a good day. I will catch up with you.